Hello. Today we're going to talk about adding fractions. So our first example here is 1/6 plus 2/6. So in fourth grade, you will find that our denominators, which are the numbers on the bottom of the fraction, are going to be the same. So we're going to be dealing with like denominators. When you get into fifth grade, then you will use fractions and add and subtract fractions that have different denominators. We may compare fractions with different denominators, but when we add and subtract, we're going to have the same denominator. So with that, the denominator is the number that's in the whole. And so when we're adding or subtracting fractions, our whole stays the same. For example, we can think of this as a candy bar or something like that. And so we are adding pieces of our whole. And the numerator on the top are the individual pieces in our whole. And so, like I said, our whole doesn't change. It's just the number of pieces that we're talking about. So when we're done here, we are left with a sixth. We just have to figure out how many sixths we're left with. And so here on our problem, we have 1/6, and we're going to add 2/6 to that. And so now we see we have 3/6. We can also see that we have colored in 1/2 of our original whole. And so 3/6 is equivalent to or the same as 1/2. Another example is dealing with what we call mixed fractions. So a mixed fraction has a whole fraction or a whole number, and then a part of a number or a fraction. So here we have 1 3/4 plus 2 2/4. So again, we still have two fractions with the whole that is the same. And so when we look at this, we can look at the wholes first if we want. So we add 1 whole and 2 wholes, and that gives us 3 wholes. Then we can look at our fraction. So we have 3/4 and then 2/4. So now let's say we take these two pieces of our whole and we add 1 in there, and that gives us a whole. And then we would have to make another part of a whole that would have a fraction on it. And so now, if we count the number of parts, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/4. However, that's what we call an improper fraction because the numerator on the top is bigger than the denominator on the bottom. And so we want to change that into a mixed number. And so like I said down here, when we add that two parts that were over here, we now have 1 whole and then 1/4. And so if we take that 1 whole and add it to the whole that we now have 4 wholes with 1/4 left over.